All right. So, Mr. Takur, you have told us in your testimony about recurrent reports of data destruction. You said that in your opening, talked about and I may have gotten it somewhat wrong, but the barrel with shredded documents in it that they were pouring acid on, and falsification by foreign manufacturers, particularly in India and China and so forth. And you've given us some answers on that, criminal penalties possibly, and certainly, maybe more penalties on not being able to import, I think was one of Mr. Claude's responses to that. But let me ask you an adjacent but slightly different question. Are you aware of any allegations related to bribery or offers that foreign countries have made to FDA foreign inspectors in order to subvert the FDA inspection process?
Chairman Griffith, I don't have data to substantiate this, but there is a record of this in the book Bottle of Lies about an FDA inspector actually of Indian origin trying to help the industry. Now, whether there was money changed hands, I have no idea. But the notion that the US FDA inspector would go on to try and help the industry of the persons that are responsible in inspecting, that just doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right to me either. And what was the reference you made?
The book Bottle of Lies by Catherine Eban. John probably has a...
Okay, he does. Yeah. I just thought we'd get it out there on the record. Mr. Claude, you have anything?
I don't have any information about that. FDA, as part of its training on this matter, I am confident instructs its employees about the ramifications of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, but other than that, I don't have anything to.
And I don't know the accuracy of it, but as I was looking into this, I heard a report that there was somebody who took a trip to the Great Wall of China while somebody else did the inspection, or the so-called inspection.
Well, I mean, that's another hurdle that we're trying to jump over here, right? Is that is there a way to have some sort of indigenous inspection that's done, and that is where FDA should rely, I think, on the pillars of the countries that share the same regulatory viewpoint, identifying the higher risk areas and devoting more resources there as appropriate.
So what you're saying is shift our foreign inspectors from the lower risk countries to the higher risk countries, without naming which ones are low and which ones are high.
Exactly, but I'll give you a quick example.
Yes, sir.
I have a client who was inspected by FDA and then made remediations and then got a clean certificate of compliance from a European inspector. We are still waiting for FDA to resolve that inspection, and there's no fault. I know the inspector turnover has left the agency, and so there's all kinds of explanations for it. These are the kinds of complexities that this problem unfolds. It's not just getting the inspections done in the first place, it's then doing the follow-ups and resolving them.
And Ms. Dennigan-McCauley, you actually know a little bit about that too, that they're not following up. They go in, they find their problems, and then they don't go back to do the follow-up inspection as they would in the U.S. fairly quickly.
Written documentation is more common.
Okay. All right. My concept that I floated earlier, I'll just tell you, I've gotten to like it more and more as time goes by. It's been a couple hours. But my concept would be is that we take students that have just graduated when they're 22, 23, on just the cleanliness issue, not the fraud, not the chemical stuff. We give them a couple weeks of training, then we send them in country at a low stipend amount but cover their travel expenses. I mean, I just know when I was that age, if somebody had given me an opportunity to travel in India or China, and, I worked Monday through Friday hard, but then had a couple of days on the weekends, and maybe we send them 2 by 2 because I know that it can be intimidating in foreign countries. But it seems to me we could lower our costs and at least get eyes on the situation to determine if we need to clean up or make this plant a priority in a country that may be at risk. All right, with that, I'm going to yield now.